Right now, we're being told that masculinity is toxic, obsolete, or even dangerous. So this is producing an effect in a lot of men where we're feeling confused, and that confusion is leading to us being, lonely, anxious, or disconnected from our innate power and our inherent worth. In this video, I'm going to show you the shifts that you need to make to correct this course and to know what it is you need to focus on and embody so you can enjoy and share the wonder and the power of masculinity. So there was a time in my life before I knew what I'm going to share with you where I would do what I thought was the right thing, or I'd be the guy I thought I should be. So as a result, I was kind and I was pleasing, and maybe I was too considerate of others and disregarded my own needs. At the same time, being ambitious and wanting to move on. And as a result, I felt hollow. I didn't know where my center was. I certainly didn't know what it felt like to have that be embodied and know how to access it. So in the next 8 minutes or so, I'm going to share with you what I think are the main causes of the masculinity crisis and the three simple shifts that I've found rebuild authority and meaning. So this is so important right now because so many guys are feeling more isolated or more confused than ever. It's creating a lot of people are feeling lost. Suicide rates are up, addiction rates are up. Pornography use is up, computer game use is up. Relationships are feeling shallow, and men aren't feeling like it's okay to access their power, or some men are afraid of accessing it because they don't want to be aggressive or seem like an arsehole, excuse my language. So this is not because men are broken. No, nothing could be further from the truth. We just haven't got a cultural map anymore, or role models, or rites of passage, or people further along the path than us guiding us and leading into an embodied sense of masculinity. So, but let's be clear, this is not a blame video. I don't want to be out here blaming everyone else. This is a healing and repair manual. So we're going to use what I like to call head, heart, and balls. These are the three essential pillars of masculinity that I've identified that you can train, you can embody, you can practice, and as a result, you can own and embody an authentic masculinity and sit within your authority. So things we've got to start doing, or another story from me is trying too hard, and I see this in a lot of guys. Like we're trying too hard to show that we are masculine. And it might be being tough, or it might be being strong, or loud, or assertive, or aggressive. And as if you do any of that and you're off center, you have no power. And when I did that in my life, it wasn't that I didn't have the skill, it was I wasn't anchored into my embodied sense of center and authority. So my identity was off. So what we want to really focus on is that how we build embodied presence, how we practice clear commitments and intentions, how we have rituals for ourselves that get us into alignment. And when we come from that place, our voice and our power returns. People will start listening and doors start opening. What happened in my life is literally I went from being that annoying person that people wanted to and often did overlook to the person people turned to without me having to say anything. I was just naturally somehow more magnetic. And when it was my time to add or contribute or share or indeed be, step up and lead, it was naturally obvious that I was the guy to approach for all of those things. And this is what I want for you. And it's possible. And it does not take long, but it does take focus. It does take a sense of you activating it. It does take you embodying it. It does take you practicing it. But if you're willing to do those things, all of these things and more can be yours. So the three main causes that I can see right now in the world are we've lost rites of passage, we've lost mentorship, we've lost men leading and guiding and showing men the way. We've lost those rites of passage that take us from boyhood into manhood. We've lost people teaching us what courage is and what courage isn't. Right now, there is massive role confusion. I think there is a bit too much focus on role and less focus on core identity, because I think core masculine identity, when it's really authentic and embodied, is dangerous to the current cultural story about who and what men should be. And I think that's a good thing. I'll get into that a bit later. We've also had a massive economic shift. So this idea, if people have this idea that I am this and I provide this, people can feel lost because it's just not that way anymore, and it doesn't have to be that rigid. And there's also a massive lack of emotional literacy and being able to listen to our inner GPS, which means we're losing the feedback that our senses are giving us from our environment. We're losing our ability to cue into other people, and we've lost that sense of having an inner voice. And when that inner voice gets louder and stronger and clearer than the opinions on the outside, as one of my mentors told me, that's when you master your life. And that's what we can do, and that's what I want for you. So I believe we need more masculinity in the world, not less. I'll say that again. I believe we need more masculinity. I believe that is the answer to so many of the problems for men, but also the impact men can have in families, in communities, in businesses, in cultures, in groups. I think that we need more of the goodness that's in masculinity. And I think it's incredibly powerful, and it's a sacred force. I think people are crying out for it. It's what gives us courage. It's what gives us that drive to create something in the world. It's what gives us the ability to focus this incredibly powerful mind, to strategy, to come up with ideas, to have a heart that is considerate and caring, and yes, fiercely compassionate, fiercely strong. To be able to create something with courage and have a heart that considers the deeper impact of what we're doing, and have a mind that can align that and and strategize that. That's the power I see in masculinity, head, heart, and balls, as you've heard me referred to before. So we have to learn to wield it, however, because otherwise, like fire, we can create a mess. We can burn the whole freaking house down, or we can, warm the home. We can warm the food. We can be a gathering point for our communities. A focus point of transformation. It's incredible what it can do, and it's incredibly how harmful it can do if it's not used properly. So the three fixes that I see that can rebuild masculinity, and that's what these are things I've done for myself and things I even do for my clients. Okay, the first is to understand courage, and courage is the essence of our balls. It is the courage to speak up. That means to ask for what we want and to say no to what we don't want, and then how to set a boundary around that. The courage to keep our word, which means if we say we're going to do something, we damn well follow through and do it. Otherwise, have the courage to say no. I'm not going to do that, and be okay with how other people might react to those things. And that doesn't have to be done cruelly. That can be done matter of factly, calmly, and kindly. To keep our word, because this builds trust. When you start saying you're going to do something and you follow through and do it, it means you're starting to take a stand for something. It shows you've got meaning, and that builds reliability. It builds, number one, trust in yourself. You start to trust who and what you are. You start to know if you say something, you're going to do it. And the second thing is it rebuilds trust in masculinity. People know men can be relied on. And I think that is crucial in the world right now. We need men people know they can rely on, men who are aligned and listening inside, men who are going to do not just the right thing, but the aligned thing, sometimes the difficult thing. And that's what courage gives us. It's the ability to face ourselves, the ability to have the uncomfortable conversations, face the uncomfortable feelings in ourselves and in others, and keep going so we get to a deep connection. That's courage. That's what I see. Balls. When I talk about head, heart, and balls, that's what I mean. That's what it can give men in the world today. The second thing is embodiment. So many men are, when we say in our heads, I mean thinking, thinking, thinking. So we're not present. We're not right here. When they're with us, their phone might be out, or you can just tell their mind is busy and they're distracted. Okay, so what I like to do every day is put my hands on my body and breathe. Okay, I'll go into this in more detail in some of the courses I deliver, but putting your hands on your body, particularly your solar plexus, so literally in the middle of your torso, and breathing in the nose, out the nose, and focusing that for 30 to 60 seconds will put your body and brain's attention on your solar plexus. Nose breathing build focus and courage. And when you start to do that, you build this engine of courage and authority inside you, which means you don't need to try and have power over someone else to feel powerful. And it means no one else can have power over you. You're neutral, you're in your authority, you don't have anything to prove, and it is naturally magnetic. Second thing we can do is journal daily, because we know scientifically, whatever we track, we start to get more of in our life. So if people track how many steps they have, they start taking more steps. So track courage, track persistence, track how much love you had, track magic moments, track how inspiring you were, track how good the sex was that you had, track how many opportunities came your way, track how many people you helped, like whatever is meaningful to you, whatever your inner voice, whatever's going on inside you is telling you to do more of, track it and you'll get more of it. And this trains our body and our mind and sets us up for progress. And the other thing you can do is share this with someone you trust. So sit down and go, hey, I'm going to work on this thing. Can you hold me accountable? Or just share it. Just say, this is what I'm going to do. And great, what are you going to do? And you start to build a community around progress. The masculine wants to become more. So build community, build connection around that. And then learning emotional skills, the next third thing on the list, which is can you identify? So the way I teach this is, can you identify you've got different emotions throughout the day? So learning to track your emotional wave and where you feel that in your body. So it's not just a head sense. It's, oh, I felt this, this feeling here. I was anxious in my belly. I felt anger in my chest. Whatever it is, start to notice, because when you start to notice your own emotional wave, a few amazing things happen. One, you start to realize they don't last forever. Number two, you build the courage to go towards them. Number three, you start to recognize you're not your emotions. You are something far greater observing all of this. And then, of course, you start to notice when other people have these experiences. So you start to build presence when you're with people. You can notice, hey, something shifted. Like, because I can recognize it in myself, I can recognize it in the other. And then your connections become much more deep and powerful. Learn to speak from an I perspective when you do feel emotion. So I feel this, I need this, I'm asking for this. So there's no blame in there. A lot of people say you, and as a result, it's very accusatory, or you made this, you made me feel this way. And as a result, there's no personal responsibility, there's blame, and that escalates very quickly. If you do these kind of things consistently, where you're tracking your emotions and you're tracking your sensations in your body, you start to tune into your GPS. We have, world according to Krishan, an inner guidance system that is guiding us all the time to help us make the best decisions, the best choices, to progress. I believe life is a benevolent force. Life wants to work for us and with us. And if we just tune in and listen, we can get in that stream and we can co-create. And that is an amazing place to be. So all of this builds a deep inner connection, and it builds a conviction, and it helps us empathize with us. It helps us become the guy to go to, right? And all of this, right, breaks down this toxic masculinity. I don't even like that phrase, toxic masculinity. I think of shadow masculinity, okay? Because to me, masculinity is inherently good. People are inherently good. I believe masculinity is powerful. I believe it's sorely needed in the world right now. It's only toxic when there is an abuse of power, when there's disrespect, when there's a lack of consideration for others. And I see, men and women do this. I see this in the masculine and in the feminine. Clean, embodied masculinity is strong, it's reliable, it's considerate, it's fiercely loving, it is fiercely passionate, it's fiercely protective of those that it loves and those that it cares about. It's fiercely protective of its vision and its dream. It's considerate. It has so many good things to offer the world, and it will naturally strive to preserve and protect that which it loves, that which it's part of a collective. So it's like it protects the collective ecosystem, right? Which I know sounds like a far-fetched vision from what we see, but it is what is innate and inherent, but we do have to connect with it and activate it. So it doesn't take long, but it does take our willingness to repetitively connect, activate, and express it into the world. So you can start today by asking, how can you express more of your courage? Like, just ask that question. Your mind will, reticular activation system in your brain will start to look for the answer. How can I express more of my courage now? How can I face this and move to the other side? Okay. How can I show up with more love in the world? How can I be more effective? These questions cause your brain and nervous system to start looking for the answers, assuming you can find them, and then tapping them in. You can put your hand, because you'll feel this as you get more attuned. Like, you'll feel your courage is in a certain part of your nervous system and body, and it's different for all of us. So putting your hands on your body, breathing, connecting with it, that gets you out of your head into the embodied sensation. And hey, you can tap into that whenever you need to at will. So you can have assertion without aggression. Okay, and others are going to notice you doing this. They're going to ask, "Hey, what's changed about you?" People will notice a shift in you, because authority, courage, power, when it's held in neutrality, meaning I don't have to have power over you to have power. When it's, absolute power, absolute love, absolute authority requires of others absolutely nothing. And it is magnetic. People are drawn to it. Okay, so we want you to build courage, we want you to build focus, and we want you to build compassion. These are the three main pillars of our head, heart, balls methodology that we teach. And all together, we want you to be able to call on which one at will, know when to use which one, know when not to, know when you're checking out. Okay, and if you can do that, and if you can blend them, you have a whole wealth of masculine power at your fingertips. So when I started doing this, people started deferring to me in meetings. They were like, ask Krishan. When there was, I'll never forget, I was in a meeting and, there was a problem situation arose and everyone looks at me and I was like, why is everyone looking at me? Like, I don't have the answer, but people were like, no, no, what they sensed was we can rely on you because I had something about me that said I can figure it out even if I don't know. And now I've come to understand that's that embodied sense of authority that comes with the authentic and genuine masculine. And it doesn't need permission, it just needs constant activation. So if you want to know more, please check out this next video on toxic versus healthy masculinity, where we break this down even more. The world right now needs more men who are steady, courageous and compassionate. So this channel is dedicated. So I'm dedicated to teaching everything I know about this, because I've had to learn the hard way. I didn't have healthy role models. I'll talk about more about that in other videos. So I've had to learn this now that I've learned, I want to share it. I want to grow this brotherhood of authentic masculinity. I can't wait to see the man you become and to see you in the next video.